What is up, guys? Jake here with the next video in the beginner series, and this is on the lane. Everything that a beginner, a starter would want to know about it. Now, I'm no expert, and I'm definitely no expert in the lane. So remember, guys, don't tell me all the stuff that they need to know. I mean, you can't give it to them all at once. This is for someone just starting the game. Try to think back. Even watching back on this video, it's hard for me to look back and sort of remember what all was something I wanted to know then, because I've been playing for a lot longer now. So you got to remember that this is for someone just starting. Hopefully it does help them out. So the first thing is what heroes to play. You know, what are you going to play in the lane? And I know I'm going to get all kinds of things. Oh, well, Glaive lane and Finn lane, and it's awesome and all that stuff. And I played Taka lane, and okay, fine. But in general, when you're starting and you're beginning the game, you're going to want to pick a more lane-friendly hero. Now, that's going to consist of your main ones are like Celeste. Now, Kestrel's a very good laner. Ringo is definitely a good laner. Saw, Vox, things like that that are sort of normal meta laners. So pick one of those. You're going to have a little bit better success, and from there you're gonna feel better. We're going to start with just Ringo. Grab him up because that's sort of the one they start you off with. So I think a lot of people start off with Ringo in the lane, and it's fine. He is a very, very good lane hero, very powerful, so that's not a problem at all. Now, we're not going to discuss what to buy on this because it varies. It varies, again, with who you are playing. It varies with what team you've got, what heroes you're going up against, all that stuff. It reminds me a lot of back in Clash when people would ask me, you know, what army comp should I use? I'm Town Hall 9. Well, it just depends on what base are you hitting, all that stuff. Same thing. What you buy depends on a lot of who you're going against, who you're playing with, all of those things like that. So, in general, we will just talk about, you know, what we positioning, what's what, not really what, you know, what you need to be worried about as far as buying. We'll get to that later. It's all coming. It'll all happen eventually, so don't worry there. So I'm just buying some items to make this tutorial go a little bit quicker. I have to wait to take down mobs and minions and stuff like that, so hang in there. We'll get out in the lane here. Now, minions are how you get gold in this game. It's also how you get experience and level up. Now, I took the shortcut, and I'm already level 12, but in general, minions are everything, and not just killing a minion, but getting the last hit on a minion. Now, you'll see if these minions die in the lane while I'm standing here, it is not going to matter. I'm not going to get any experience for that or any gold out there. A minion died, nothing. But if I take the last hit, all of a sudden I get experience, I get gold, etc. Now, the thing I want you to look at is notice their health bars, and I want to zoom in here. Look at the minion's health bar. Watch right there. See how it turned bright red? That lets me know that I can kill that minion with one shot. Now, on these small minions, I've got a lot of damage right now. It's going to happen very quickly. But early in game, that bar will be very down close to the bottom before it turns red, and you get that last shot. So watch for that. And when it turns red, you want to take that last shot. A lot of times people just sort of dance around, just waiting for it to turn that way, and then they take that last shot, and that's going to give you the gold that you need to level up, to buy items, etc. So, in general, killing minions and getting what we call CS, which is a term that stands for creep score, it comes from other MOBAs, just means that that's how many minions. You'll see right up here at the top of the screen. Oops, sorry, let me grab my thing here. Right at the top of the screen, I've killed 8 minions. That's just a way for you to sort of keep track of how many you've got, compare it to the enemy, compare it to, you know, stuff like that, and make sure you're sort of staying on pace. So make sure you get those last hits. That's everything, guys. It takes practice. It looks easy. Again, I've got a sorrow blade. It makes it a lot easier. But go in there, make it to where you can just go into the lane like this without buying up all the inline abilities, and just practice like it's from the start. It does take a little time, but you'll get better and better and better at it. Let's see. Got that. Positioning. Now let's talk about when you're first starting out the game and you come out here and you're going to engage the other enemy laner is going to be coming up. He's going to be fighting you. Let's talk about positioning because it's very important. When you're sitting here, you know he's going to be hitting his minions. You're going to be hitting, or vice versa. You're going to be hitting his minions. He's going to be hitting yours, and you're going to be trying to get those last hits. And obviously, you're going to be hitting each other along the way. Now, what you want as a laner is right here. This is where you want the minions to be. You want them to be on your side, and we're going to talk about why. But in general, you want the minions here. You want to keep them here. And what that might mean is not killing them. So if I get them to right here, I might not kill this last minion. I might just dance around and leave it there. I want to keep them out of the range of my turret, which the range of my turret is roughly right here. If they get closer than that, the turret will start shooting them, which you don't want. You don't want, because you'll lose CS, you'll lose that gold. But I want to keep him here, and the enemy is going to want to keep him on his side as well. The reason for that is ganks. Now, if you get in these bushes right here, in any bush in the map, and we'll talk a lot more about that in the jungle video, you'll see how my name sort of grays out and then it comes light back up. That means I'm invisible to the enemy team. So if the enemy team is standing right here, you can't see them. You'll be dancing around up here in the lane. You'll be pushing the lane forward, trying to fight. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they come flying out of the jungle. They're on top of you, and you die. That's what we call a gank. And the enemy team's going to be trying to do it to you, and hopefully your team's going to be trying to do it to the enemy. So it is advisable to keep the minions on your side of the map between center line and between your turret's range. That would be where you want to do it, and that's called freezing the lane. So don't always think you have to clear that wave immediately and get it out of the way. You might want to let that minion just sit there and beat on your minions for a moment until that next wave shows up and is there for you to farm. Now, if you're wanting to go down to the jungle and you're wanting to go shop, you might clear it very quickly and do what we call pushing the lane, which means it's going to push towards their turret and give you time to fall back down, with your turret protected and do your shopping or rotate down to help your team out in a team fight. Now, one thing I will say is that you need, again, play conservative. Especially as a starter, I would never advise, pushing the lane forward and purposefully and trying to get down here and put a lot of pressure, especially early game. Late game, mid game, okay, fine. Or if you got your team with you, that's fine. But you're going to get ganked over and over and over if you do that early game. So play conservative, play safe, stay back here, sort of high on the lane and back towards your turret and trying to take shots and just get those last hits. Just dance around, you wait. Try to avoid the enemy. If he gets close enough, put a little poke, what we call poke on him, shoot him, and then just sort of play it safe from there. The vision, what we call vision in the jungle, and let's run down here and grab a scout mine. Your support role should do this for you, but if he doesn't, do it for yourself. Okay, that's the bottom line. If he's not going to put down vision, you need to, because it will save your life. You need to try to keep a scout mine in your bush and in the enemy's bush. If you just place it like that, you're going to be able to see. A scout mine provides you vision. Now, when they enter into this bush, coming up from their jungle, when they get about this close to the scout mine, you're going to see them. And if I'm out here in the lane and I'm doing my thing shooting, all of a sudden, oops, I see them, I know immediately, get back, get away. They're trying to come up and gank me. They're trying to take me out. So that is going to help you do that. Again, your support role should do it. If they don't, oops, let me clear that away. If they don't, you do it yourself. It's worth the 50 gold to buy it and put that scout mine down. It could save your life for sure. And one death is going to cost you a lot more than 50 just on losing minions. So get that vision down. Let's see. Turrets. Let's talk about turrets because they're important. And obviously the goal of a laner is at some point or another to take out the enemy turrets. Now look at this turret right here. You're going to see that bar is not there. The what we call the barrier on the turret, and right there it comes back. You see that white bar right there? That's the barrier, and if it's there, you can almost do no damage. I can come in and hit this. I do have a lot of damage myself, but see how it heals itself back up. That goes away. Watch when I push this wave forward and the minions get in range. Now there's no barrier. Now I can put true damage on that turret and take it out very quickly. Again, you might want to be careful if you're putting this pressure on this turret because the enemy team could be coming up to get you and take you out. But in general, that's how it works. Now, you also saw that once I got my minions in range of this turret, that the turret starts targeting the minions and not me. But watch as these minions die. If there's no minions to sort of tank for the turret, then the turret will turn its attention towards me and obviously start shooting me and do a tremendous amount of damage. And each shot does progressively more damage. So if I stay in there for one shot, it's not so bad. 2 shots out, that starts to hurt. 3 shots, it's going to really start taking your health down and killing you very, very quickly. So you want to make sure that you are keeping your minions doing the tanking. You don't want to tank turret shots basically ever. But you'll see, that you'll get more about that in the game. So now, another thing to note is that even if I have my minions tanking the turret for me, okay, I push the wave forward and I've got it. But all of a sudden, the enemy laner shows back up and starts fighting, and I attack that enemy laner. And we'll have to push up to the next turret to show you what I'm talking about here. But the minions are taking the shots, but all of a sudden I attack an enemy and I am in range of this turret. It will immediately turn its attention to me and start firing, even with those minions in range of the turret. So be careful. If the turret's almost dead, you may not even want to hit that enemy hero. You might want to completely ignore him and just allow the turret to go down, let him get a few shots on you while you take the turret out. So that's how that works in a nutshell. Again, you see that the barrier go down on that turret. You go down to one that doesn't have minions near it. There's the barrier on it, and it can basically not take any damage when you shoot it. If you get late game and your heroes or all three of you are there, you can what we call just dive the turret or tank the turret, and you can take it out regardless of whether that has that barrier or not. But in general, we're talking about beginners. We're talking about the start of the game. That's how the turrets work. Now, what separates in my mind a good laner from a great laner. So you can have a good laner and you could be really good at getting last hits and maybe even putting good poke on the enemy heroes and all that. But what makes you a great laner is awareness and what we call rotating down. You're up here, you're clearing your lane, and you see on the little mini map, you might see the little icon up there that shows me right there. When you're playing in an actual match, you will also see the icons of your teammates, and you'll see them running around and going down through here, and all of a sudden you'll see them, they're about to be at the shop down in the jungle. It is a really good practice to rotate down when they go to the shop for two reasons. One, you can shop up safely and not have to recall back home. Also, that's one thing to talk about real quick, is if you are in the lane and you take a lot of damage, or you just, you've got a lot of gold and you've pushed the way forward and you need to go back to the shop, you can just hit the recall button. If you're going to do it, get in a safe spot. Get behind your turret, maybe even hide in the bush where they can't see you, and click on this button right there. That's going to bring you back to your shop in just a moment. Instantly, you can use it anytime. It does take a little time, but boom, you're going to be back. Then you can say, okay, now I can shop up and get what I need, and then get back into the fight. But back to the point I was making. If you are want to be a great laner, you have to know when to rotate down, when to help your team out. If you just get in the habit of sort of meeting up together as they clear their jungle minions, and we'll talk more about that in the jungle video, you sort of meet up here in this bush and come down and you shop together. More times than not, you're gonna possibly turn a team fight. They ran into the other team in the jungle, and all of a sudden it's a 2 versus 3 because the other laner is still up in the lane clearing minions, and you guys have the advantage. But if nothing else, you get to come down and safely shop up and then return back to your lane. So really focus on that. Try to not get too much tunnel vision on the lane and what you're doing up here, and just make sure you're watching it. Make sure you're sort of working as a team to watch them protect each other. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot. Running together, being together. If you will be in the same place at the same time, you'll be surprised how often you catch the enemy team and you have them outnumbered, and you have a huge advantage in those fights. But guys, that is basically it. It takes practice, especially what we call last hitting or CSing. Trust me, this looks real easy right here when I've got a Sorrow Blade built up and I've got attack speed and all that. But when you are doing it and there's another laner there and there's a lot going on, it is hard. You are going to miss a lot of what we call miss a lot of CS, miss those last hits, and it's going to be frustrating. But the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. But watch that vision. Watch for those ganks. Don't get too aggressive. Don't just be standing out in front of that turret. You're going to have a miserable experience playing in the lane. You're going to get killed a lot. You're going to be frustrated, and your team is going to be frustrated as well. Play conservative at first, and then once the turret goes down, that's one thing I didn't want to. I should have mentioned that I haven't mentioned yet. Once this first turret goes down, in general, my opinion now, that's not between me, it's going to be very hard for you to farm up in the lane. Now, if you're good at freezing the lane and you can keep it back here, fine, you can continue to farm up in the lane. But it's going to be very easy for the lane to get pushed forward, and when it does go push forward, look how far you have to go to get up here and get some kills, to get some last hits. You look how vulnerable you are. They could come out of this area of the jungle. They could come out of their bush here. They could come all the way back from your side of the map and come in, and you're dead. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to escape to. You're going to die. So in general, once your team succeeds taking that first turret down, group up with your junglers. Don't take their kills. Don't come down here in the jungle and start taking your jungle team's minions. That's how they farm up. That's how they level up. That's how they get their gold. You don't ever want to kill these. It's fine if they tell you to, or if they're, there's extenuating circumstances, that's fine. But in general, just stay with them. Run with them. Protect your turret. If you see the lane starts getting pushed towards your turret, which you can always watch the mini map and see, come up, take the farm, get back down, group back up with your team, run together. You're going to have a lot more success. Your team's going to be happy with you. You're going to be happy with the wins. It's just going to be a better experience. All right, guys, again, this is a very beginner's guide, but hopefully it gave you some tips, some points, that something you might not have known about, or just something to think about while you're trying to play in the lane to help you have more success, have more fun, and like we say, have more fun by sucking less. All right, guys, until next time, Jake, doing my best to help you guys suck less.